Hey guys, the Explorer 4 Horror Boy 465 here. Welcome back to some more reviews. And before I get into the review, I wanted to apologize for my absence. I know I've been saying that a lot in videos and stuff, but I wanted to apologize. I haven't been making too many videos lately. I haven't had that much time to make videos, especially this week. Of course, as you guys know, this is the week of Thanksgiving, so it was a very busy week for me. But tonight I had some free time, so I just decided to do this movie review on this film that I had seen recently, and that is a movie that I discovered from Matt Remember After Life. I had actually seen his video, and the movie intrigued me, and that was Jacob's Ladder. Now, I seen Matt's movie review. I heard him mention it in a couple of his videos, and the plot, the idea interested me, and I finally picked it up on DVD, pretty cheap as well. And I watched it about a couple of weeks ago, but I can still remember it very well. And I have to say, it's a pretty well-made horror film. It's pretty solid. It's pretty well-made. I don't really have any problems with it. It's pretty good. It's definitely a solid horror film, Jacob's Ladder. Now this movie does have a little bit of a twist to it, so I will be spoiling this movie a little bit. It does have a little bit of a twist to it, so I will be spoiling that, so a little bit of a spoiler alert. But Jacob's Ladder is a film from 1990. Now this movie was directed by, let's see here, Adrian Lyne. Now Adrian Lyne had also made stuff like Foxes, not really too many movies. Unfaithful, Lolita, Fatal Attraction. But pretty much probably this and Fatal Attraction are his two. Well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really seen the other movies he's made. But Jacob's Ladder, like I said, directed by Adrian Lyne, of course, directed Fatal Attraction. But I believe Fatal Attraction and Jacob's Ladder are probably his two biggest movies. But he did a really good job making this movie. This movie is very well shot. It's definitely not your standard horror film. I mean, it has some very unique shots in it, some very unique ideas. I know that the people who made Silent Hill were inspired by this movie, which is really cool. I can definitely tell that The Sixth Sense took some notes from Jacob's Ladder. It definitely has a very atmospheric feel. The atmosphere is nailed in this movie. And what I like about this movie is that, first of all, you got a great cast. You got Tim Robbins, who was from Howard the Duck, which I can't believe it because that movie is bad, but he was in that movie. The movie Howard the Duck I'm not a fan of, but I thought he did a decent job in the movie. Was pretty funny in the film. So I can't say that he was bad in that movie because I actually didn't think he was that bad in that film. But Tim Robbins in this movie is a very likable character. Does a very good job in the acting. Does a very good job acting wise. You also got Elizabeth Pena playing his sort of girlfriend character, Jezzy. She did a really good job as well. And then you've also got Danny Aiello playing Lewis, which I believe is sort of this chiropractor, works on Jacob's back, pops his back into place, and is also Jacob's friend. And Jacob's Ladder is just a very well-made, very suspenseful. It's an hour and 53 minutes, but for me, it went by at a very fast pace. It's a horror movie that really, for me, I have no issues with. I mean, it's shot very well. You have a great cast. You have a very crazy idea. An idea that makes you wonder about, what this movie's ending means. Of course, it could mean the fact that, like I said, spoiler alert, that Jacob is dead, but there's lots of that you can put to this movie, and I really enjoyed that. And when Matt reviewed this movie, that's what really intrigued me about the movie, is that it's not your typical horror film. It's a movie that, it just sounded like it was, one of a kind. And it definitely is. Jacob's Ladder is a one-of-a-kind horror film, and it's a really well-made horror film. It just has a very well-done atmosphere. I didn't mind the score. It was a pretty decent score. added to the atmosphere. Like I said, Tim Robbins, Elizabeth Pena, and Danny Aiello, they did a good job. Some really creepy scenes, and what I really love about this movie, one of my favorite things about this movie, is the fact that you see these demon creatures, but you never see them 100%. And that was, from what I watched from the documentary, which, by the way, this DVD, it has an audio commentary, making of featurette, deleted scenes, theatrical trailer. That's about it. But from what I've watched of the making of, that was the goal of the director, was to not show too much, was to let the audience guess and, say, what did I just see? And you get a lot of moments in the movie where you sort of do that. You're sort of like, what the heck? Wait a minute, what was that? I found myself watching this movie paying very close attention to the small details and paying very close attention to saying like, what did I see? What did I just see? And I think that's very well handled by the director and by the makers of the film. You never see any creatures 100%. You never see any demons 100%. You do see demons and creatures and stuff like that, but you never see them 100%. I think that's a very well done aspect of the film, and the movie is pretty well made. I mean, I really don't have any problems with it. It's a really well made horror film. It's basically about this guy named Jacob Singer. He was in Vietnam, got stabbed, and it pretty much takes place after that. He's a mailman. Jesse's his girlfriend. You found out that his son had gotten hit by a car, and it was played by Macaulay Culkin. Of course, he'd go on to be in Home Alone, I believe the same year, because Home Alone came in 1990. So he'd go on to be in Home Alone 2, but you got Macaulay Culkin in the film playing Jacob Singer's son. And, his wife left him and stuff like that. And Jacob Singer all of a sudden starts seeing these very weird things. He starts seeing these demons. And by the way, it's all practical effects. I don't really remember any CGI in the movie. If there is, I don't remember it. I think it basically is all practical. And you just get a lot of really cool ideas, really interesting stuff. Jacob starts seeing things out of the corner of his eye and starts noticing some weird things. At the beginning of the movie, you got this train scene where Jacob's on this train. He goes to go up the train. You see for a split second, you see like a tail, like a demon tail by this homeless lady or whatever on the train. This old lady on the train. It's a split second. He sort of looks back, doesn't know what's going on, and the audience is doing the same thing. I was like, what was that? And then he gets off the train. He's trapped in the train station. Every exit is like chained, which I guess in Silent Hill, I guess from what Matt mentioned, from Silent Hill 3, there was a scene in Silent Hill 3 that had a train sequence, and it's a very well made, it's a very well done scene where Jacob, he's walking on this train track in the darkness, and this train just veers by, and you see all these people. Really creative idea where it's done practically, where people's heads are like shaking. And I guess what they did was they filmed it, and they would film people moving their heads, and they sped it up, and then of course you get the fade-in effect. Very well done, simple effect, but it works really well. And from there on, he just starts seeing these weird things. Some weird things start happening. He damages his back. Jacob damages his back and pulls his back out, or I believe he breaks. I don't remember if he breaks his back or he pulls his back out. But his friend Danny Aiello is talking to him, and he even tells his friend, like, "Hey man, you look like an angel." And his friend, he's talking to him, and then all of a sudden Danny Aiello freaking breaks his neck, and then he has a flashback to Vietnam, and I do believe like Danny Aiello sort of becomes the angel of the film, because it does deal with hell and demons. And Danny Aiello, like I said, Jacob even says he looks like an angel. So because like Danny Aiello is standing like the sun's everywhere, and Jacob goes, "Look like an angel." Well, Danny Aiello is pretty much the angel, and then you got all this demons and stuff like that. But pretty much got that crazy scene where Danny Aiello breaks his neck, but then he goes, "I had to do that because I had to fix your neck." And then just weird stuff. Jacob Singer gets captured in this asylum, gets taken down, gets a freaking giant needle stuck in his forehead. People tell him he's dead, and he's denying. He's like, no, I'm alive. And Jacob Singer refuses to give up. He refuses to accept the fact that he's dead. And, and eventually Danny Aiello comes in and tells him that, these people, they are demons, but they're trying to get Jacob to go to heaven. And pretty much by the end of the movie, Jacob Singer ends up going to heaven, sees his son at his house, and ends up going to heaven. And that's pretty much the plot of the film. It's a very straightforward plot, but it also has some very interesting touches to it. Interesting stuff like the one scene where they're dancing at this party, him and his girlfriend Jesse, and Jesse is freaking having sex with like a freaking demon, and you don't see the demon 100%. You see like a tail, you see these feet, and it's all done in sort of this not your typical demon, where you think you would be like hoofs and stuff like that. But it's like flesh and meat. It's very weird looking. The crazy, creepy scene where Jacob's friend is in this car and the car explodes. But there's that scene which is really creepy. There's also a creepy scene where Jacob is almost going to get hit by this car. He dodges the car, and for a split second, you see a very creepy-looking face in the back seat. It's sort of like really deformed, practical. You see it for a split second. I think that really works for the film because it adds suspense. Because you're questioning, I don't know if I show the DVD or not yet, but because you're questioning what you just saw, and then I found myself kind of rewinding back and going, oh, that's what that was. But it's a very creepy scene where Jacob Singer almost gets hit by this car. He looks, and there's this deformed-looking face. It looks in the back window, and it starts shaking and stuff. Very creepy. Very well done. And I like the idea of the movie, taking this idea that, Jacob is sort of stuck in this hell, and he's trying to get out, and he's seeing all these things, and they could be things from his real life that he remembers. And Jesse, like Jesse could be someone like, and pretty much the people he meets in the movie could be people he knew in real life, and the music and everything. And I like the idea that sort of takes place in Jacob's hell. And it's about Jacob trying to get out of there, trying to get to heaven. Really enjoyed that idea. And the movie is well shot, very well shot, has a very well done atmosphere. The score is pretty decent, it adds to the film. It's very well directed. Tim Robbins did a good job, as well as Elizabeth Pena, very sexy, did a good job. Danny Aiello did a good job as a Lewis character. And the rest of the cast did a pretty decent job. Pretty well made movie. I mean, I really don't know what else I can say about it. I mean, kind of a short review compared to my other reviews, but I really don't have much to say about it. I found out about this movie from Rambo Afterlife. I seen his review in this movie. It really intrigued me, and I'm glad that I seen it because it's definitely underrated as well because this movie doesn't get talked about that much. I do agree with Matt. This movie is very underrated because it doesn't get talked about that much. It doesn't get mentioned that much. But it has a very well done atmosphere, a lot of practical effects, very suspenseful. It's a one-of-a-kind horror film. It's a very well-made, just definitely a different kind of horror film, but it's in a good way. Like it's very well made. It's a suspenseful horror film. Goes by at a decent pace, and it's just well made. I don't know what more else I could say about it. I mean, it's well made. I really enjoyed it, and if you haven't seen Jacob's Ladder yet, I definitely recommend that you watch it. It's a very well made horror film. It's underrated. It deserves more credit. And yeah. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review on Jacob's Ladder. And I will see you guys on the next review. Bye, guys.